Welcome back to Brothers in Boots. My name is Mike.
My name is Jeff.
And today we have an interesting episode on Mike's leather choices and why. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute, but this is kind of another ongoing effort for us to bring, a little look behind the curtain about the people and their choices, less about like the hard brass facts. We've gone over the hard brass facts. We have a whole episode about leather choices: when, where, why, how, what for. This is going to be more about our specific opinions. In this case, this one's going to be on my opinions. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And Jeff, what are you drinking?
Starlight, a finished in port barrels, 110 proof. Another one of the picks that I did. Nothing exciting this week. Nothing we haven't done on the episodes before. Though I did choose a different glass than usual.
There you go. Always got to change it up a little bit. I mean, to be fair, this is we're 60 episodes in, so it's kind of hard to have 60 open bottles at any given time.
I've got a lot more than that.
Well, for the viewers at home, a lot of what you see in the background is sealed there. Not a lot of it's opened.
I've got them stashed all over the house.
Hey, you know what? Zombie apocalypse could happen any day. You don't want to go through that shit sober.
I've got enough the rest of my life, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, gotta have goals, right? Who needs retirement?
The faster I drink it, the faster that life burns, right?
You're not wrong. Anyway, this episode is going to be broken into a couple sections. So essentially, I'm going to talk about like my favorites and the stuff that I would choose and target in the value category, the higher end choices, and kind of the Grail category. I'll do some casual, I'll do some work, and I'll throw out a couple options from there as well. But the idea is like if I was going to sit down and buy a pair of boots tomorrow in certain price ranges, this is what I would target. Now there's probably going to be a little bit of finagling here. I'm going to call certain things cheap that the leathers themselves aren't so cheap. By cheap or value, what I mean is you can get it as one of their baseline products with very little upcharge. So most companies and the ones that I'm going to talk about, you can get these at their standard pricing. It's not one of their upcharged leathers. So kind of keep that in mind a little bit as we go through. And I'll provide examples for exactly what I mean as I'm going through this. But so first off on my value choices, my number one value choice, and you could work in this leather too if you wanted to. It's the CF Stead lineup, which is the Crazy Cow, the Rambler. They also have Mohawk and a couple others. You see this common in Thursday boots. You see this in Truman. You see this with Grant Stone at times. I'm sure Oat Street Bootmakers probably ran it at some point. I know Parkhurst has ran it, and it's just your split reverse suede waxed on one side, which is basically what all of these are. It's a nice, light, flexible product. It's not particularly expensive. The hides are actually pretty cheap. They're decent sized double rumps. You can usually get them for $180 or less. Most of the people run it as their entry models. Very rarely do you pay a large upcharge or any upcharge at all through any of the companies for this leather, and it's on most of their basic offerings. I think even that new Thursday boot everyone's talking about recently, the Brawler, has Rambler. A brown Rambler is one of its core offerings, and I think that boot's under $300 if I remember right. All the Grant Stones will have some CF Stead offering at less than $360. So they're out there. There are options. Just depends on where it's getting made. Now, the flip side to this is like if you go to makers like the Spokane makers that have to order it separately, the Indonesian makers that have to bring it in as a non-country export, it will not top the bottom of their lists. This is the reality. Those are export prices, so a ton of what they're dealing with is bringing in enough in the volumes they need to be profitable and paying hefty export fees. So if you were to go to like your Renavs, your Tahuras, your Bristleback, Professor Barnett's, Sagara, most of these guys will charge you the same price for Merriam horse rump as they will that leather, just because that's what they're paying on import fees. But like I said, light, flexible, Pretty good summer option in comparison to some of these others. Some of these other ones are not going to be the greatest summer options that ever did exist. And overall, easy to maintain. Not the most waterproof thing in existence, but it is chrome tanned. And most people can get by with it. It's, I don't want to call it sneaker soft leather, but you're kind of getting into that category a little bit. So it's one of the better ones. Second is, and these next two aren't going to be a surprise to anybody, but it's Horween's Wax Flesh, which is a Chrome XL, and Chrome XL. Now, everyone's going to be screaming, Mike, those hides are absurdly expensive. If I was to go buy one right now, they're between $280 and $310. Yes, you are correct. But you can go get a baseline Thursday with very little upcharge. You can go get a Grant Stone. You can go get a Truman at their base price in that leather right now. You can easily Wolverine 1,000 miles, $360. You can get them on sale, no problem. Grant Stones are like $340 to $360, and they have sales running quite often too. You know, someone's got those boots. At Thursday boots, I'm pretty sure there's a couple Chrome XL options for less than $300, or right about $300. So they exist. Yes, Chrome XL itself is expensive, but you can get boots sub $500, no problem, in that price point. I probably should have referenced this in the beginning, but we're not going to, there'll be no Indian leathers, there'll be no Lafarque or like dirt cheap third world country leathers. These are all going to be things that I would pick. Keep in mind, things I would pick. Once we get into some of the spicier leathers on this list, that price point's going to go up quite a bit. So
these really only hit the word value because larger builders are buying in bulk, and they're getting the prices go down quite a bit for bulk. These same leathers wouldn't be considered cheap if they were being made by a smaller maker or a maker that offers you a lot more choices in leather.
Exactly. And now, why did I label these as casual leathers? Because I know a couple people are going to point out that, like, these are leathers that you could, work in. Yeah, you could, depending on what you do. Waxed Flesh is a great example. Is one of the perfect winter boots. If you were going to insulate a boot and it wasn't going to be a rugged 7-8 ounce leather, Waxed Flesh would be a great choice. Lots of built-in water resistance, very easy to re-wax. You just need a little bit of heat or an iron. It's not super hard to do at all. Or you could just, use the oiled products like the Venetian shoe cream, which is a lot of what is used to build that wax layer up in the factory. Obviously, they're using big specialized machines and hot irons to really help emulsify and stuff it in. But, ignoring some of the basics of that, you could very easily re-wax them, and they're quite waterproof. I mean, they're not Shackleton, but I haven't tried Shackleton, so it's not on the list, quite simply. And that's another good point here is if your favorite leather's not on the list, it's a possibility I haven't tried it, or I have a different leather I like more. Just plain and simple that. So all workable, but they'll all be leathers that don't look good after about 6 months of work. Like Chrome XL, mill dyed. Horween Wax Flesh, same thing, mill dyed. Once you get through the top layer, there's not a lot of color. You just get brown. So if you got like a fancy burgundy, a green, what do they call it? Greener pastures, olive, navy, Cavalier ink, whatever. All of these are going to be brown pretty quickly, especially if you're scraping them, unless you're using shoe cream to repair them. So that's not the greatest for work. And obviously suede is going to nap up and get, we're just going to call it chunky or fluffy for a lack of better words, over time. For work leathers, this is simple. Everyone's going to guess what's coming here. It's obviously going to be Seidel. It's an alternative to Seidel, just your regular oil tan process. Some of the SB foot leathers are great for working. Lots of people work in Red Wing mock toes. Those are all SB foot leathers. They hold up pretty well. It's usually the mock toe that fails, not the actual leather itself. So get your SB foot. And then a shocking one, because it's actually cheap, even though a lot of people upcharge for it, is CF Stead Kudu. Kudu is actually a pretty tough, rough and tough leather, and is actually pretty good to work in. If you use the rough outside or even the smooth side, it's got a good amount of abrasion resistance, which should be evidenced in the hide with all the scars. And on top of it, it's stiff-ish, but also flexible, so that it holds its shape pretty well. It's not like deer where it's falling in on itself. And Rambler will kind of get that way without lining over time, but it is, flexible enough that it is, don't like the term I'm using again, sneaker feel, quality, leather, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Feels more like sneakers than like a thick pair of boots.
I'm surprised to see CF Stead Kudu in the work category. Doesn't seem right. I get your logic.
Yeah.
I totally get your logic as you say it, but certainly not where I would put that product. It's extremely strong. It is. It doesn't show a lot of wear. I get it.
I mean, you could put it in casual. You could casual Seidel or SB foot too. It's just they meet the conditions to be in the work category, quite simply. And, you know, I mean, because Seidel was shined up pretty well. If you need to shine Seidel for an office, you could do it. SB foot's a little harder to do, a little bit more on the imperfection side. But, I mean, of putting it in casual versus work, I think it fits more in the work category since it covers both than just strictly casual. But you could wear it entirely as a casual boot. And that's a fair point. Like I said, me personally, I would put it on a work pair before I put it on a casual pair. But once again, that's just me. Especially summer. Like if Crazy Cow and Rambler were summer casual boots, Kudu would be good summer work boots of all the choices. Especially if you did something like a canvas boot, like the Frank Riker or the military jungle boot or whatever. Maybe don't pick one of the models where they did that portion in leather. Brands make them. It's not really a canvas boot if you're doing that part in leather, but here we are. As a funny note on that, Frank's did do a prototype where they did the whole boot in canvas, not just the uppers, and when they were originally doing the prototypes. And Junior did mention that boot did not survive very well because they tripled up on the canvas layers on the bottom, but it got just completely fucking obliterated. It couldn't maintain any shape after 6 months at all. And a leather liner too, but funny story for the day. And like I said, these are value choices, right? These are boots that you're going to find in your sub $500 lineups that... No, because I guess Grant Stone runs a lot of Kudu, but I mean, these are going to be in most people's lineup. Some of them might be a little bit harder to find than others. Like the SB foot's going to be kind of an odd one too. It's going to really kind of just fall on your Red Wing lineups, even though people are buying that these days. But like I said, you know, these boots should at any time be able to be bought under $500, and during sales should easily be able to get for less than $300. Maybe instead of get obtained might sound a little better. So, but you know, like I said, value, it's not lost on me on this channel. Value has a very different meaning than other channels. No one here is going to ever advocate for a sub $200 pair of boots unless like it's just some kind of like ridiculous used deal on a quality pair somewhere. Chances are, if it's a new in-store $200 pair, it's pure junk, and no one here is ever going to advocate for that. So that's you know, another kind of reality here. But you know, that's how it goes. This is enthusiasts here. I mean, maybe we have regular casuals or people that maybe aren't quite as into this that just like our content for a reason that I can't seem to think of at the second. But this is really meant for enthusiasts, right? Like, you know, I bring up Grant Stone just because, like, if someone had to have something tomorrow, you can get those pretty quick. And even though they're Chinese made, they're reasonable quality. Like, there's not really many synthetics used in them. You do get a full leather liner. You're just getting Chinese factory to get the prices down. I mean, I only have one pair of shell Cordovan Grant Stones left. I've had 3 in my lifetime. I've sold 2 of them. There's a kangaroo pair and an ostrich pair, but you know, them's the ropes. So, but that is kind of the value lineup, and you know, once again, value within the confines of this channel. High-end choices. This is going to get a little weirder and a little bit more exotic, but. Well, let's get into it. I have some interesting ones that I really enjoy. So first off, no one here is going to ever be surprised by this one, but casual, we've got Battle Lassie Carlo. Battle Lassie Carlo has been my go-to. Like, I have a jacket in it, I have shoes in it, It's actually become my go-to work leather, though I don't necessarily recommend it for everybody because it does lose like the prettiness of it in wetness. But anyone that deals with just pure abrasion, Pueblo hides that shit like no other and keeps on ticking. But yeah, Badalassi Carlo. I don't particularly line up much for the Minerva just because I like the waxy and Pueblo and they're super unique. But there's nothing wrong with the Minerva, especially if you wanted to run rough out Minerva. That's probably the best way of doing it because you can get that one in 7 ounces if you want to get a really thick pair. But yeah, Badalassi, Italian tannery, beautiful colors, nice quality double shoulder all around, so you don't have any questionable parts of the hide, which for a lot of the makers that are not custom bespoke makers or people who really pride themselves in clicking, greatly reduces the chances of you getting a pair with a defect, either a large defect or a structural defect. No chance of getting skirt, no chances of getting quarters closer to the belly, no chance of getting belly itself when they're really in a pinch, and you a lot of chance to avoid the thinness of the double fronts and the skirt, which is why you really want to avoid the skirt when those layers really start to thin out and you get a piece of leather that is like 4 ounces on one side and 6.5 ounces on the other, which you really don't want. But yeah, not much of a shock there that I bring that one up. But yeah, like I said, it's a little stiff for a jacket. I will say even my 2.5 ounce split Badalassi jacket, well, that jacket's badass. It is a stiffer jacket compared to the other ones, compared to my 2 Shinky, which those are Shinky pony hides, so they're not Shinky horse rump, and my I'm not sure what tannery that's from. My trucker jacket, the suede trucker jacket, it's just American steer hide rough out. I don't know what tannery it's from. It's not advertised. So, but those are significantly more flexible than the green Pueblo. Option 2, this one's not going to shock anybody. I'm actually wearing them right now, or I'd lift them up and show them, which is my dome boots, is Consaria Walpier. Frank's has been putting a lot more of this out. It always looks good. It lasts nice. It scratches a little easier than the Badalassi, which is why it's not rated quite as high. And it's overall fantastic leather. It molds to your feet well. One thing I did notice is I did have to clean and condition my pair because they were getting quite dry. Is after I conditioned them, man, did they grab the foot and mold shape real quick right after. And they haven't really lost that shape just from that single conditioning either. Now, it is a monkey boot, so obviously that's going to help that out a little bit because it helps the fibers move, helps fibers hold. But yeah, nothing bad to say about anything in the Buttero lineup. Mine is the Black Burrow Buttero Green. But I mean, they offer Buttero in a ton of colors. They're all super vibrant, flat colors. So just solids, but no waxies, no special scratch patterns, no museum, none of that stuff. I think they've done some specialties like that in the past, but they tend to lose money on them, so they don't do them very often. Which the Black Burrow Buttero is one of those specialties, ghost leather or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's another double shoulder product, avoids a ton of defects, and it's a struck through color product, so it's very easy to repair the colors. Does scratch a little bit more, but is also comes in 7 ounce, so you can really beef it up if you want to, and it ages quite beautifully. It's a fantastic leather. Both those I would condition in the new Saphir Medal d'Or vegetable tanned oil. I've used it for the first time on 3 pairs now, and it's done absolutely fantastic on every pair. Most of my more horse rumpy products, I've done the shell cordovan cream in the past, but I've done it on a Paramarium, a Parashinki, and this Walpier, and it's done stunningly well. That definitely seems to be the way to go. And it gives a little less shine than the shell cordovan cream does. I think there's some waxes in it, but nothing like the shell cordovan cream has in it. So
I'm definitely gonna buy some of that.
Yeah, it's worked out well. It smells pretty good. It doesn't take a lot. It penetrates like instantaneously. It's fantastic. It works the way I wish the oiled leather cream worked. So in this casual category, like I said, Badalassi you could work in. If you did the thicker Walpier, you could work in, but I'm going to keep them as casual because I've got better work options in this category. The next is Merriam Horse. Another shocker. Who on this channel would ever guessed that? But yeah, I mean, it's the best, most affordable horse rump out there. Shinky's not for everybody. That Horween double horse front that they make is not for everybody. I know Horween has a work horse rump that they're selling in small quantities. And I've got some of the Galloon. I finally got the rebuilds back from Frank's, but I've not worn them yet. So once the dome's over, I'll give that pair a go, since the uppers are a little too used for me to pass them off in the next dome. I was thinking about using those as my next dome boots, but I don't think anybody's going to believe those uppers weren't worn. So I'll have more of an opinion on that. To the hand, it feels almost exactly like Merriam. Like the kilties, I have a set of Merriam kilties they stamped out of my Merriam horse rump that was left, and a set of the Galloons, and they feel almost the same thickness. They feel exactly the same in hand, so I have a feeling it's going to be very Merriam-like. Though I have not been quite as impressed with how some of the people's Galloon, especially they had the really like beautiful ones from Truman and stuff, how well they've looked after like 6 months. They've lost a lot of their shine, and they really kind of start looking like law bison. Like almost so much so that like I have to know that pair is Galloon and not law. Someone could tell me it's law, and if I didn't already know it was Galloon, I might believe them. So,
considering how related they are, I'm completely shocked.
Not that they're made in the same facility at all. But yeah, Merriam horse rump, lots of options. I mean, special shout out to the reverse tannages, the reverse like Tuscanello, the reverse black. Those are awesome tannages that work out quite well. Those are also the tannages I would work in if you needed to work in Merriam horse, because like you're gonna die if you didn't, because I don't know, the Sphinx put a curse on you or some other mythical creature that gives you random requirements or you fall over dead. The reverses would be the ones I'd do actual work in. And then the last one, which is still one of my favorites, but has kind of lost some spots just due to it's kind of better from the other three brands, is Horween Dublin. Still have my Dublin, still have 3 pairs in Dublin. Those are ones I'll probably never sell any of those 3 pairs. The Engineers in it and 2 Wilshires in it. I wouldn't work in them, but like if you like, oh man, Chrome XL's a shit, I need a Chrome XL option, Dublin is the correct answer. It's only $30 more a hide, but everyone will upcharge the fuck out of getting a Dublin pair. It is a large upcharge in comparison, just because no one orders in large volumes. And I don't know if anybody sells it in large volumes either. So, full veg tan, almost all the Dublins that I've ever seen are struck through. There might be maybe some special orders that weren't struck through, but they're all struck through. A little bit easier to repair. The kind of harder waxy finish on it is just a little bit more durable than the super oily finish of Chrome XL. Doesn't scratch. I mean, it scratches, but it doesn't scratch near as easy as Chrome XL does. Chrome XL, I could, fucking twist my ankle on it and sneeze on it. And it's like, oh my God, the gouge almost made it through the grain. And overall, I think the colors are a little bit more vibrant and a little less, the term is, I'm gonna say glassy. They don't have like this artificial shine to them. Like they're more of a like an eggshell finish with paint in the store instead of like a high gloss satin gloss or high gloss, which the Chrome XL very much does look like, even later in its life, which kind of distorts the color in that sheen a little bit. So you just get like nicer greens, nicer blues, definitely nicer burgundies and reds. But I'll give brown Chrome XL its due. Brown Chrome XL is like one of the coolest is one of the coolest brown colors out there, except for like maybe the Shinky browns. But the brown Chrome XL is a super cool color with, I mean, it's basically yellow, red, and darker shades of brown, black mixed together, which does make it look quite cool. So, and then finally under casual, because I don't think it's really a Grail choice at this point anymore since so many people offer it, Horween Shell. It's expensive. Most people would consider it a Grail option, but I'm gonna be honest, there are very few brands I can name that have not fucking offered shell on a regular basis, or I couldn't go get a pair of shell boots from right now. When we get into the shell boots, shell boots, when we get into the Grail leather options, it's going to be a lot more focused on stuff that like only got ran one time, short runs, you had to supply the leather. Maybe they've done it once or twice and that's it, right? Like it'll be way more focused on that, and that'll make sense when I get to those. But yeah, Horween shell, it's a high-end choice. It's definitely casual. It's definitely mill-tanned. I would not use it for anything else. And contrary to popular belief, other tanneries do actually strike through their shell. Merriam and Merriam can do it both ways, but Shinky strikes through all their shell, except for brown. So it is possible to get struck through shell. But yeah, Horween shell. It's not the greatest boot or shoe material. It is definitely unique. People either love it or they hate it. Very rarely do you have an in-between opinion when it comes to shell. I mean, I'll be honest, I think the most in-between opinion on shell is going to be Jeff here.
Thanks.
I mean, Jeff is never going to say, oh, shell's ugly, it looks like plastic, I can't stand it, blah, blah, blah. But he's never going to say, oh, you should go get that because Horween shell specifically costs like $1,200 fucking dollars to buy a pair or more.
Yeah, it depends on what you're buying, and I'm not buying the kind of boots usually where I'm going to want shell.
Yeah. So
it is lower on my list, and I do think that the Horween shell is overpriced. It doesn't matter. I understand that it's the best, and everybody thinks it's the best. That price tag is too much to swallow.
It's double of everybody else's. Pretty hard. So, all right. So high-end work choices, and everyone's going to be here like, Mike, what the fuck do you mean high-end? You're meant to destroy these. By high-end, I mean you're going to be paying a premium for these because no one's really going to keep them in stock, but they're going to be great work options. Number one, you know what channel you're on, baby. It's going to be Law Bison. It's not particularly expensive per high, but no one really stocks it, and especially if you want like Palisades or the non 5 colors of Bighorn. You know, it comes and goes. It's not always there. Everyone upcharges for it. Law Bison is thick and durable. It does scratch fairly easy, but it doesn't matter because it's fucking 8.5 to 10 ounces half the time. So scratch away. It's got a very dense grain. It's got a pretty nappy rough out, but it's not a super deep rough out. So you get a lot of grain out of it, especially with the shrinking process. And overall, super durable. It struck through. I mean, yeah, it's not going to look the greatest after 2 years of wear, but you'd be kind of surprised how good it can still look. A little bit of cream, most of the shrinking flakes or scales, as you want to call them, are still going to be there. Hit it with a little bit of cream, give it a little bit of conditioner. A lot of those valleys will work their way back in. You're good to go. The mock toes are the one exception where they do kind of pull the flakes out a little bit, just because, well, I mean, the only company running it right now is Nix, but the extra stretching from doing that on the vamp and getting that stitch in and pulling down the strip will pull a lot of the flakes out of the toe, and what's left of the flakes that survive will flatten out over time, especially if you get a elastic toe. But with that exception, like I said, the majority of them will stay and can easily be brought back in with a little bit of a conditioner and a little bit of work. Number 2. Oh, good. Sorry.
It breathes really well.
Oh, yeah.
Which is both good and bad. When he says work, I mean, this wouldn't be like, probably wouldn't want it as dirty work, or at least not very often, because you kind of want to clean them almost right away. They're thirsty. They'll handle about anything you throw at them, but they're one that you want to keep a wax on there and keep it conditioned, because the pores will allow it to dry out.
Yeah, it's not an oil tanned leather, so compared to a lot of the other ones that we have talked about in the work conditions that are oil tanned, it is more susceptible to sucking up water and stuff. So boot dryers are going to be a little bit more important with them too, especially if you're getting them wet on a regular basis. Not that they can't handle it. You're just going to shorten the lifetime on the leather if you don't. Like bison, you can get a solid 2.5 years out of. But if you're getting it wet every day and you're not drying them, 2.5 years is probably going to be closer to 1.5 years, which compared to some of our casual leathers is still longer. So. Oh, and even compared to some of our lower end work leathers, it's still going to be longer too. But on that note, is this crux to position to that, because not a lot of people. I would say most people like the law look, but there's definitely people that hate it. Wicket and Craig, fantastic work option. Nice big thick steer hides. Big 26 to 32 square foot sides, so easily to pick good pieces of leather out of for a single pair of boots. It's tough to I'm sure companies do, but you're not going to get near as many bad parts out of it. It's just the fucking biggest steers you've ever seen. The Wicket and Craig hides are just fucking huge. The only people that even get close to them is Arif and Sons in terms of size. The hides are just large, and overall, most of their tannages are meant for saddles. So of course it's workwear, right? They wear good. They do pretty good. Most of them are oil tanned enough in the process. Their only major downside is being pure veg tan makes them not as good with water. But you can fix that by keeping them waxed and whether you want to use Saphir Super Invulner, keep updating your wax layers. There's plenty of people in the PNW communities that have been working in Wicket and Craig lowers for 2 years, no problem. So, but it's a great option. They have a good lineup. They have been expanding their colors the last couple of years. So if color was a problem, I've seen deep reds, I've seen blues, I've seen more natural greens now. Supposedly at some point they're doing a natural oiled Latigo or oiled Latigo, however you want to pronounce it. That should be pretty cool.
Pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I've there was test hides out a couple years ago, so that's a product that should be hitting the market at some point if people order it. Fuck, they just did especially in that double stuffed, which shockingly enough, people are able to get double stuffed outside of Nick's now. I've seen a couple people have it. Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah.
That's exclusive, Mike.
Was until recently, but a couple people are getting it now, and like I said, they've got a lot of really unique colors in that lineup, especially considering most of their stuff is a lot more brown earthy tones in nature. So lots of good options, especially in, like I said, their harness lineup and their specifically for work. Oiled Latigo, it doesn't come in quite thick enough for working, but the double stuff is about 1 ounce to 1.5 ounces thicker than the oiled Latigo, so perfect for working. I have one other lineup. English Bridle, that's the other one besides harness. So downside English Bridle is literally meant to absorb the horse's sweat and maintain it, so obviously English Bridle, not water boots. Forewarning. But yeah, Wicket and Craig, great option. And then number 3, and I only put this one number 3 because it's a little bit more obscure, is a tannery out of northern Germany called Cobell. Not a lot of people use it. Most people's introduction of it has been Dennis from Custom Craft. But they make, 6.5 to 10 ounce leathers. They're all on the stiffer side. They're all quite durable. And for a work option, especially if you wanted something super unique, they're all oil tanned, is the Cobell work harnesses. I'll grab one here. My Cobells are sitting right here. This is their green harness right here, but it's nice and thick. As you can kind of see, this is the skived down tongue, and this is about a 6 ounce tongue, which probably could be thinner. But as you can see on the roll top, same thing. It's overall quite the thick hide, quite stiff. Definitely gives you the support you need. You can tell by my very clearly defined ankle bones. You can also see in the very clearly defined toe, it's a stiff leather. It's a tough leather. And one of these, and it's not the one I grabbed, I have a pretty good chunk taken out of the toe that hit the edge of a combine seeder and took a chunk out of the, let me see if I can grab that one. Took a chunk out of the toe. but it ended up pretty well considering I've had that punch through them before right there. You can see where I hit one of the spines on it. So super durable. Like I said, another one where you can very clearly see my ankle bone. But yeah, like this is shit that you could do some nice hard work in and have no problems. It's a little more unique, a little more obscure, you know.
What are you doing playing around with combines?
Well, I mean, it's right across the street, so I was just helping weld a plate back on. It's not going to be a field much longer. I think they're going to build houses in it. They did their last round of hay baling. I think it was October-ish timeframe, maybe November. And now they're flattening it out and putting drainage in, and I think they're going to do like 10 little 2-acre properties on it. The one on the other side of the street is still having hay being done on it at the moment. They haven't put cows on it the last 2 years, though. So
screw up your view.
Well, the one's like right out in front of the house, so yeah, that one's definitely going to screw up the view. The German Shepherd absolutely loves seeing people out there running utility lines and stuff at the moment. She's definitely not upset at that at the slightest. But yeah, so those are my high-end choices, right? And once again, if I didn't get yours, maybe I've tried it. Maybe I didn't like it compared to one of these others for some reason or another. But if I missed your favorite in these categories, let me know down below. And I'll either tell you if I wore it or not, or if there was a reason why I liked one of these others more. But let us know. And then last but not least, we have Grail options. These are not for everyone. So once again, these are the leathers I have picked. This isn't something everyone should go out. Like, you shouldn't like write all 6 of these leathers down and be like, I've got to go get one of these. Like, these will all be absolutely perfect for me. No. The reason these did not make the high-end choices or the value choices is specifically because I don't think they're for everybody. The high-end choices and the value choices I think will work for everybody. Pretty much no exceptions. These will not. Just quite simply. Whether they're just going to be too cost prohibitive due to small runs, there's going to be attributes about the leather that I don't think apply to everyone holistically. Maybe there's a durability problem, maybe there's a look problem, or, you know, maybe it's just one of those cool to haves, right? And some people really love them, some people really hate them, right? So number one, this is going to be of absolute shock to no one on this channel, is Shinky horse rump. It's thick, it's stiff, it's not for everybody. I've got 2 pairs of brown Shinky horse rump, one in a pair of Floras in Boutines, one in an Engineer. Engineer is not the right choice for that leather. Those are from Benzene. I've got 2 blue horse rump, one Wesco Engineers, which are on my Instagram, but I will show those off in a later video on the channel. Once I have the Floras and my current custom crafter and worker in, I'll do a video about all those when those come in. And then I have a pair of Tahuras in that blue. And then I do have the natural pair. And I'm sure I probably have another one that I can't think of at the moment right off the top of my head, because for whatever, I didn't write any of these down. And it's like, oh, I'll just think of my collection off the spot. It'll be fine. I won't fucking forget one or anything. I think that's all of them, or close to all of them. But it's not for everybody. It's thick. It takes a lot to break in. If they use it for the tongue material, fuck. Oh god, that's the worst. So they use it for the tongue material. But overall, you know, like I said, my 2 pairs from Flora are so good. They are the, however you fucking do the chef's kiss thing. Just imagine me doing the chef kiss right. I'm throwing rice right now, but it's the chef's kiss. I don't know what the fuck it is. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. They've heard the thing before. I don't, sure. Or what's the thing where they do the like sprinkling the shit on the whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Those are fantastic. The browns were super challenging for her because of it being mill tanned. It was very easy to scrape, and a lot of cowboy boot processes involve wetting the leather and stretching it, which was really fucking with the finish quite a bit. And we did a pretty wild design. Like, this is my first pair of of inlay boots where it's got embroidered pieces going to the top. Jeff has seen a picture of them. Like, this is a pretty wild pair in terms of like kind of over the topness. So, but yeah, Shinky horse rump. To supplement that, the next specific one, which is in line, that is the Shinky shell. Now, I just made a comment earlier about like, oh, here's an option for struck through versus Horween. Shinky shell is not for everybody. Shinky shell is quite a bit thinner. It folds a lot more, and it really needs the right model. So I have a pair of Shinky shell engineers in emerald green from Benzene, and the vamp effects of it are not desirable, really. It's doable because it's an engineer, but it wouldn't be my first choice. And it's even fucking worse than the shaft. The shaft's almost like 2 times worse. Shell Shinky boots, I would expect to be some kind of derby, plain toe, cap toe model that has lots of overlapping layers that are not like hole cut pieces that are going to show the flaws with Shinky shell. Like I said, Shinky shell usually runs about 1.8 to 2.1 ounces, whereas the Horween shell is quite a bit thicker in comparison. But it is struck through, and if the person who's making it knows what to do with the finish and how to take advantage of the much more matte finish of the Shinky shell, it's money. It's not going to be the most desirable look for how it creases and stuff, which is once again why it's on the Grail list and not on the regular list. I think Horween can kind of suffer from those problems, but it nowhere near to this extent. I think most people like a cool looking pair of shell boots as long as they haven't made choices like, doing a mock toe or a wingtip or any of the other ones that cause odd creasing. So next one is only here because you can't find it very often. That's Merriam Kangaroo. Most of the Grant Stones that have been ran in Kangaroo or Merriam, a lot of the colors out there that people find, especially if they're like a Tuscanello brown, a natural, a black, an odd, not very vibrant blue, which is ocean, and then a kind of off green, which is jungle. That is the Merriam lineup. It's cool leather, fits well, flexes well, has a unique temper to it. It's not the thickest stuff ever, but it's pretty thick for Kangaroo. A lot of times it comes in around 2.4 to 2.6 millimeters thick.
I'm surprised we don't see a lot more Kangaroo boots.
Yeah.
I would like a pair, but I don't ever see it offered by the right builders. And it's been even difficult to just source it to try to send it to them.
Yeah. It's getting better. So the last 3 years, we've only really had Merriam, Tuscanello, and black available, but Rocky Mountain does have 5 of the colors of the lineup now. It's still a very small portion. A lot of the Kangaroo that's for sale, especially in the super vibrant colors you can get from like Lisa Sorrell, are meant for inlays and tops. So most of those are like 0.8 millimeter. They're not super thick by any stretch of the imagination. But like I said, there are. It's getting better. Does it get good enough to have a lot of Kangaroo options in the future? I don't know. Maybe. I don't think Kangaroo boots are 100% for everybody, but they could be. I mean, once again, they fall in that very kudu sneaker-like category. Very durable. Only issues with water. And they crease in the way you'd expect them to, which is super cool. And they're very... honestly, a very good shell quarter pin alternative because they have no sweat pores. So they have a structure very similar to the shell. The downside is they're usually an extremely expensive cowboy boots, or honestly, Grant Stone's really been the only consistent person offering it overall. That's just where the kind of rubber has met the road and then the car immediately crashed in the wall.
I guess I did own a whole bunch of Kangaroo back in the day when I was athletic and played soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of soccer cleats made out of Kangaroo.
Yeah. So, maybe we see a resurgence in Kangaroo. Maybe we see people buying more of it. Like I said, it is getting brought into the United States more, but I don't expect it anytime soon, personally. So that's why it's kind of on here, because it's not one that everyone's offered. Maybe Truman's offered it once or twice. I've never really seen it from Truman. I'll be honest, I haven't. Like Frank's, I think has ran 2 colors of kangaroo at different times, maybe 3. I think maybe they ran some black, they ran some natural, and I think they had a gray, smoke gray color.
All I remember is the gray.
Well, maybe I'm fucking smoking crack. It's possible. I thought they had like natural or black kangaroo at one point, or maybe it was called camel or something. Maybe I could be wrong on that, but I thought they had those colors at one point. And then you can usually get some kangaroo from the Indonesians. A lot of the Indonesians keep kangaroo in stock, but it's something I'd love to see more of. The Grant Stones and kangaroo I did have. If I could get them in a size wider, I probably would have kept them. They were a pretty good pair of boots. So, yeah, good old kangaroo. And on that note, the next option is entirely the same problem, and that's ostrich. Whether that be shins, smooth, or quilled ostrich. Actually super durable and super tough. It's just super expensive. And you only generally see it in real high-end footwear, or footwear meant to make a large statement. Super common in cowboy boots. Very Western wear style. Frank's has ran a decent bit of ostrich. Obviously, Grant Stones ran a ton of ostrich. They've ran ostrich multiple times. But short of those two, I can't think of anyone else besides Western wear that's ran ostrich. Is White's ran ostrich? I mean, maybe you could like custom order it, but
yeah,
have they?
Ostriches, they've offered the first ostrich I think I saw from them was probably about 8 years ago.
Okay. So,
but it's definitely a cowboy thing. I've owned several pair of ostrich cowboy boots.
Yeah. I own one. I owned a pair of Grant Stones that got sold, and I own one pair of ostrich cowboy boots now. And like I said, fantastic leather, just not something you run into very often.
Some leathers lend themselves more to toe shape, and I don't feel that ostrich really lends itself to like a boot, work boot shaped toe.
Yeah. The one that Grant Stone ran it on was one of their narrower toes. It was the diesel boot, the one that's a little bit in there. It reminds me a lot of the Roy boot from Alden when they brought the Roy boot out, which is a little bit work, a little bit office casual, kind of trying to ride that line in between. In Frank's terms, it's not quite a number 2 toe, but it's getting to a number 2 toe. If you had to be like halfway in between a number 3 and a number 2, which does lend itself to ostrich. Like you are getting to that narrower toe shape, which always looks better with ostrich. So, alrighty, and then we're left with 2. Excuse me. The next one, also not that expensive. Riccardo shell. Riccardo does the cool, fancy, psychedelic shells that everybody wants. They have their solids, they have their marbleds, they have their museums. All the Riccardo stuff's cool. I think it actually probably is a better shell for boots than most of the other shells. Its consistency, how it bends and whatnot, just looks better over time than most of the other shells. And it's one of the cheaper shells. Just nobody offers it for whatever reason. You see the Indonesians having it all the time. I sent some museum green to Dennis, so I'll have a pair from that. But I don't think I've seen a single American bootmaker offer Riccardo.
There's that one Riccardo that I considered for a while and talked myself out of. That crust.
Oh, yeah, the white one. Yeah, the bone crust. Well, Riccardo has that and Chloe has that. They both do that one. So,
myself in and out of that more times than I can count.
The problem is it doesn't stay white.
At the moment, I'm out.
Yeah, it doesn't stay white is the issue. It'll go a fleshy color over time.
Well, I don't want it to stay a specific color. I want to see it evolve, and it's certainly going to evolve easily. I just think I think I'm going to get to the point really fast where I'm like, all right, evolved a lot quicker than I wanted, and it's now evolved past where I want it to.
Yeah.
And I couldn't hit a stop button.
Yeah.
So that's, I guess, why I've talked myself out of it more times than into it.
That's going to happen. That'll definitely be a thing that does happen. That is definitely a reality.
A great one for the Dome. Has anybody put that one in the Dome?
Dale ran
the
Chloe version. I think he was in the top 10 when he ran it 3 years ago. He ran the Chloe version. I don't know if anyone's ran the Ricardo version. So
I guess it was the Chloe one that I was actually looking at. Get a potato.
Yeah, with the Italian Tanneries are. Speaking of that, someone's probably going to ask, why is Chloe not on the list? Simple. Don't have my Chloe boots yet. I don't have my Goliti boots either. Once I have them, I'll let everybody know. Like, I think their Art Fang is a great Shinky alternative that comes in just as many colors. It's way easier to get, but I haven't got either of my pairs yet. And I haven't got my Guidi navies either. So maybe one day they'll be on the list. Though if you're wondering why they're not on the list now, it's specifically that I just ain't got them yet. And the last one, and this is going to be oh so controversial, and I am sure everyone in the comments is going to be like, what fucking crack is this dumbass smoking? He worked too hard. Did the meth cook his brain? And that's going to be any custom hand-dyed leather. Now, I'm sure everyone's going to immediately jump, oh, you just mean creosote. No, I don't actually. I'm talking any custom hand-dyed leather. When we start talking about high-end bespoke shoes, they don't buy black leather. They dye the black leather. And you've got guys like Graziano and Gerling, who basically built their business off over-the-top hand-dyed patinas. And realistically, the high-end dress shoe world is filled with people who do just stunning work with this super high quality colors and designs and like depth that they can get into it. I mean, obviously creosote falls in that list if you were going to do a little bit more worky stuff in it, or you wanted something a little bit more rugged. But when we talk about hand-dyed patinas or just leather dye jobs in general, they run the gambit, and they're just significantly more prevalent in the high-end dress shoe world. Like there's not a pair of dress shoes over $3,000 that they just use. Well, besides like super rare leathers like the reindeer that was at the bottom of the sea, the 1970 or the 1794 reindeer or 1776 reindeer, whatever the fuck it was. This is tannery dyed, and they just put the boots together and hand it to you. Here you go. And most of them have a ton of work done, and the leather's been treated. Like they've dyed the pieces on the hide before they cut it out, or they dye it once it's on the shoe. There's a lot of different ways they go through the process. Depends on the maker. But yeah, any completely custom done. And once again, it's Grail because the price to entry, the cheapest like hand done start to finish patina job is going to be creosote. And it's only going to go up from there. So your entry point at this is $2,500 and a long wait or more. I mean, John Lobb offers this in their bespoke London line, but you're going to wait 3 years for your pair from John Lobb. So that is kind of the creme de la creme of the Grail pairs, is anything completely custom done by a master maker or a master patina person. Because there are people at Graziano and Gerling who just do patinas and nothing else. I mean, they fucking put 24 karat gold in between the scales of gator and built up enough finish for the gold to hold in place. Yeah, that kind of stuff has been done. So yeah, that's the Grail. That's the peak, the top. So, and that's my list. That is my value choices, my high-end choices, my Grail choices of the leathers that I pick and why. Obviously, this list is extremely subjected to specifically my opinions and my wearing habits, but, hopefully those line up enough with yours that it helps you make a good choice on your next purchase or help you plan out your next MTO build. Any closing comments, Jeff?
No, I inputted what I had.
Cool
The
deal.
list complete.
Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. let us know your favorite leather that I missed and why I'm dumb for not adding it over whatever stupid shit I added to my list, and we'll have a go of it in the comments and see what happens.
Hey.
See you on the next one.
Launch